This man never slows down. When they call, he answers, and he's back in action at UFC Vancouver in a matter of days, taking on Brendan Allen. It is always my great pleasure to speak to Reinier de Ridder. I know I'm not quite getting the name, but I'm getting closer. I'm trying to get closer. So when you win, I told you, when you win the title, I will get the name totally correct.
Perfect.
How's everything?
I'm doing good. Just got home from practice. It's rainy in Florida today, but yeah, life is good.
So I know you've kind of already talked about this, but I have to ask the question, like, you fight and beat Robert Whitaker, huge win, and then we're like, maybe it's just a title shot right away. We literally did an interview, and then like the next day you got to fight. You get Fluffy Hernandez, the guy that we talked about briefly in our last interview, and then, a couple weeks later he's out, you're waiting for an opponent. Can you kind of like, what was the range of emotions there? Because like, I thought you were going to be out for a little while. You sounded like you're ready for a little break, and then of course, boom, you're right back in there again, and then you lose the guy who is pretty much like a guaranteed number one contenders fight.
Yeah, exactly. So after the fight, I thought it might be good to take some time off, relax a little bit. But they called me, said, "Why don't we do the Fluffy fight?" I said, "Nah, why not?" So I got back to work. I put a lot of work in those first couple of weeks because of the cardio thing. I really wanted to get that part right because it was Fluffy. So I went to work like crazy early on, and then a couple weeks in, they called me, told me he was out, asked me if I wanted to remain on the card, and I wanted to. I think it's smart timeline-wise to fight now and then to line myself up for the next shot. And they were happy for me to stay on the card. It was a bit of a struggle to find somebody. So for a couple of days, I thought maybe there would not be any fight, and was a bit disappointed in that. But eventually, Brendan was the guy to step up, take the fight. So I'm very happy about it. And now it's already close. Next week, it's already fight time again.
I love it. Can I ask, like, was there ever a moment when they said Fluffy's out that you said, you know what, maybe I will sit? Because, like, obviously there's only so many fights that would really make sense for you right now if it's not the title shot. And to his credit, Fluffy seemed like one, he's on a good run. Obviously the other would have been like Imavov, who obviously is just coming off a win. Was there ever a moment where you're like, man, I'd like to wait? Or did you right away say, give me somebody new?
No, it's give me somebody new because February is going to be Ramadan, right? So most likely Khamzat would like to fight somewhere January or early February. So I thought it'd be smart to fight now, then take a bit of a break, and start preparing for Khamzat after this fight. And yeah, still. Brendan is a lot lower in the rankings, but I think it still makes sense. He fought the other top dogs. I think it's between me, Imavov, and Fluffy. At the moment, we are the guys in the top of the division. And he fought them. Both of them he beat in the first round and got close to beating them. Fluffy almost beat in the third round as well. He did pretty good against Imavov. So... yeah, he's right up there. I'm happy that he took the fight.
In terms of like rankings, you could argue like Brendan Allen, based on who's available, is a better choice because as you said, he's fought the top guys. He's been a ranked guy for a while now. But I know Paulo Costa was in the run, and with Costa, it's more about name value, right? Because he's just a big name. So like, is it a weird thing because like Paulo would have been a quote unquote bigger fight, but in terms of like, if we're being honest, who's done more lately? Brendan Allen has done more lately, more meaningful wins, let's say, than what Paulo Costa is. I think that's fair to say, right?
Yeah, that's definitely fair to say. But Costa would have been fun just because of it's a fun dude. To the entire build up and stuff would have been cool. But he put so he was up first. We were in conversation with him first. But he put up too many stipulations. He wanted a catch weight. He wanted 3 rounds instead of 5. So he said, if you don't want it, then you don't get it. And then we moved on to Brendan. Which I'm very happy with as well. Yeah.
And I know you don't do this to like get brownie points with the UFC or anything, but like we know they love when guys are willing to step up and save cards, things like that. Obviously, you've already done that multiple times, fighting and literally taking a new fight like 2 days later. But obviously, you were in, like you said, when they called and said, "Hey, do you want to stay on the card or not?" You clearly said you wanted to. And then when Costa comes in with all the conditions, like I imagine you're just like, you're like, "Hey, I'm already doing this. Like I'm already doing this when I'm already losing an opponent. I'm not gonna start switching up other stuff to make conditions for this guy."
Nah, yeah. If it would have been the only option, I would still have been down. 3 rounds would be nice. Catchweight wouldn't be that bad either, to be honest. But yeah, it was just easy to move on from him. If he doesn't, I would say, if you get an opportunity like that, don't be a bitch. Just say yes, and don't put any stipulations there. And he would have had a great chance to be back into title conversation. But he put all the stipulations there, and we said we'll move on and see if there's somebody else who just wants to take the fight. And I think maybe even if we would have said no, Paulo, it has to be middleweight and 5 rounds, maybe he would still have taken it. But at that point, it was already too late, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So maybe one day, it would be fun to get all the build up with him one day.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like sometimes, like it's kind of like the Bo Nickel thing. We talked about it. Like at the time, Bo Nickel wasn't a top 15 guy, but that was just such a bigger fight because of his name, right? Like it didn't matter, like it or not. Name value means something in this sport.
Exactly.
So now I know you have a little history with Brendan because you both trained down at Kill Cliff. And I had asked, because I know you had said, like, when you first got down there, Brendan didn't seem interested in training with you. And I had talked to Brendan. I hate playing the he said game where I tell you what he said, but I asked him, I said, is it true? And he's like, yeah, it's true. I didn't want to train with him. And I guess his problem was, and I don't want to, misquote him, but basically paraphrasing, he said that every middleweight that came to the gym, they came to him and said, "Hey, so and so's coming in. Do you care?" And he's like, "I don't care, whatever." Like I think Imavov even came down and trained after they fought. But he said, like, when you came, they never bothered to ask him. And he was kind of bummed about that. And he said that, like, he basically said, "I already got enough friends at middleweight," because I know he's close with Gerald Mearshart, some other guys down there. So, like, how much interaction did you even have? Because I know he hasn't spent his last 2 camps down there. He's been in Chicago.
No, that's true. He hasn't been in the gym as much, and the first few times I came in and he was there, I'm just, I don't give a fuck. I just went up to him, said hi, and what's up? Let's train. But he didn't want to train, and I respect that as well. Yeah, it is what it is. We'll find out now, I guess. I don't care too much about training. I'll train with anybody. It's not like you're gonna find out something that you're going to use against me in the fight or whatever, in my mind. But yeah, it is what it is. He didn't want to train, so it didn't happen. And now we're going to find out in the cage.
Everyone's got their own philosophy on that. Like
exactly.
Some guys like you've seen some guys say, like, "I'll train with my opponent a week before the fight." Like, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
Me neither. No.
And it's funny. I interviewed your guy Ong La In Song right before. Obviously, he just had his retirement fight. Great fight.
Fucking
and I asked him, I said, like, how is it? And he's like, "Dude, I love it." He's like, "I love training with him." He's like, "I'm going to help him become a UFC champion." He's like, "And hey, if nobody knows his game better than me, we fought twice." And so, like, I think that speaks to the relationship. Like, that's a guy you fought and beat for 2 titles, and now you guys are like friends. And he's like, "I want to help him earn a UFC title."
Yeah, it's very cool. That fight was cool too. I did very good against the Katastam. I was a bit worried going in because Katastam did so well in his last fight against Solic. But wow, that was Angla turning back the clock. So it was very cool to see.
Yeah, and I imagine it means a lot to you to, like, now, like he said, like, he loves being a coach, and he's like, my goal is to get him to a UFC title.
Yeah, it was very cool. I'm very happy to have him in my corner, to have him help me out. So yeah.
So let me ask you about Brendan, because, like, at his best, like, when he was on that run, he was on a pretty solid run, beating the guys he had beaten. I know he had a win over Chris Curtis, had the win over Andre Muniz. Like, he had a good run. Obviously, listen, there's no shame in losing to Nasruddin Imavov. I mean, he obviously is a top guy, and then losing to Fluffy. I mean, those are 2 guys who are basically right there with you as far as, like, title contention. So what do you make of Brendan? Incredibly strong ground fighter. He's improved his striking, but what do you make of him as, like, in terms of, like, style?
Yeah, his boxing is very, very good, very crisp. He likes to get in the pocket. Pretty quick hands, throws nice combinations, has a decent right mid kick. He has fought a lot of southpaws already, so he has a lot of experience there. Has a lot of experience in the UFC. His grappling is good, but a bit sloppy at times. He falls off the back very frequently, so maybe that's something he has adjusted by now. Has decent submissions, very opportunistic. Like he jumps on stuff when he sees it. His wrestling is decent. Has decent takedowns, decent takedown defense, not too great. But I think the thing that he lacks in the most is he kind of fades in the later rounds. He starts very hard, very sharp, and very good in the first round. He's very dangerous, as he was against Imavov. He got on top and controlled him basically the entire round. As he did in the fluffy fight, he did very well in the first round as well. But then in the later rounds, he kind of fades a little bit. He doesn't even look that tired, but I don't know, something changes and he's not the same guy in the later rounds. So we'll see for this one. Yeah.
I know when you fought Bo Nickel, like it was obviously the win was most important, but it got a little extra emphasis because you went out and finished him, right? You knocked him out, you hit the body shot, knocked him out. Now with Robert Whittaker, obviously you came close to a finish, but I think there's also the point of like it's Robert Whittaker, just get the win, and you got the win.
Yeah.
Considering the switch of opponents and technically it is going down the rankings a little bit, when you look at like his two losses, he got decision by Fluffy, he got decision by Imavov. Is there a little more point of emphasis like I don't want to beat this guy, I want to finish this guy? Because that does make a stronger statement because the other two guys right there couldn't do it.
100%. That's the goal. If I can do that, I think it's very clear who the top contender is. Yeah.
I know we talked a lot about the Imavov Borjalho fight going into it, and then coming out of it. Listen, Imavov won; he got the job done. But I don't think it was what anyone would say was the most exciting fight necessarily in the world. What did you think of that performance? And I know the change of opponents sucks because everyone was like, "Oh, it's going to be the whoever looks best out of these two fights." But when you watch that fight, absolutely nothing against Imavov. Is there a party that's like, "Well, that didn't exactly set the world on fire." Like I don't hear a lot of people beating the drum saying, "Man, you got to give him that title shot."
Nah, it's kind of the same as what happened in the Whittaker fight for me, right? I got the win, but I could have done better there as well. I wanted to finish him. I wanted to make a bit more of a statement. And kind of the same thing happened for him. But it happened against Caio, and Caio is just not a top 10 guy at the moment. He's not there yet. Maybe he will if he develops a bit. And he has a bit of a name because of the fighting nerds and whatever. But skill for skill and looking at his strength of schedule, he's just not there yet, Caio. So a guy like that, it would have been nice for Imavov if he would have been able to put him away. And I think Caio and Brendan are pretty similar in a lot of regards. So yeah, it's very much up to me if I can finish him, if I can look good and I can do it early. I think it's not a hard choice who's next for the title.
Well, and I also, we talk about name value. I mean, you've been on such a run, and now, now main eventing this card, like you had the momentum from the Bo Nickel fight, then you go main event against Whittaker, you beat a former champion, now you're main eventing again. There's something to be said about momentum, and styles make fights, and we know Imavov is primarily a striker. You are an incredible grappler. Matchup-wise, it does seem like you do present a different kind of trouble for a guy like Chimaev versus Imavov, and like it or not, like that, those things matter.
Yeah, exactly. So, as if I just need a lot of people on my side, I guess, and I need to do good next weekend, then hopefully I'm next.
Did you laugh? What was your reaction when you saw over the weekend Chimaev calling out Alex Pereira? I'm like, I was like, that's fun and all, but dude, like, defend your title. You haven't defended your title yet. Like, it's a little bit crazy to start talking about going to light heavyweight, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous, but if we're talking styles make fights, then I do give him a shot, don't you? Don't you give Khamzat a shot if he fights Pereira?
I mean, absolutely. That's what I just literally talked about, like the John Jones thing. It's like John Jones is the worst matchup for Alex Pereira. Like that is the worst.
Yeah, 100%.
And Chimaev isn't far behind there. That wrestling it's a nightmare for a guy like Pereira.
Yeah, exactly. And we haven't really seen what Alex can do because he's mostly been fighting strikers. Even Ankalaev is mostly a striker. But let me get some work with Khamzat first.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think I don't think like the UFC didn't like they weren't like ooh a super fight. I don't think they're actually making. But I thought it was funny. Like I give him credit too. Like you go for the biggest fight, and Alex is a big name, right?
That's true. That's definitely true.
Now you mentioned. Listen, I know I'm jumping ahead here, but this is the nature of the beast. Obviously, you're fighting again in October, and I feel like I have this conversation with you every single interview where I'm like, "Are you going to take time off after your fight?" But you already mentioned everything goes well next weekend. You win, you defeat Brendan Allen, you finish Brendan Allen. And you mentioned obviously early next year we got Ramadan, and I understand that athletes don't want to fight around that time. I understand that. I sympathize with that. So we're looking probably January, February. Once again, you can't predict injuries and things like that, but assuming everything goes well, are you once again willing to make that quick turnaround? Because the one thing we do know, the UFC has said they want to build those first couple of cards really big because that's the Paramount deal. That's kicking off the Paramount deal. So they want to make these big, big cards. Can I assume health-wise, you come out healthy, you're willing to once again make that quick turnaround if it means the title fights?
Yeah, definitely. That would be so cool. January or early February would be perfect for me. And then I kind of feel like I get more time off than I've had in these couple of fights before. So yeah, that would be the dream scenario. Yeah.
We've done post fight interviews. I think for every fight you've had in the UFC, I almost feel like we need to delay it by like 3 days because every time we do an interview, and I'm like, "What's next?" And like literally like 2 days later, you're like already booked for another fight.
Yeah, it's been pretty quick every time. Yeah, and that's a blessing to be honest. I want to maximize my time here, and yeah, we're almost there, Damon. We're almost there.
And listen, I mean, the year you're having, I mean, listen, obviously Merab Dvalishvili is having a great year, other guys, but like, I think you're in that conversation. Like, if you go out there and beat Brendan Allen, man, fight of the year, you got to be in consideration. This has been a crazy year for you.
Yeah, definitely.
It's all coming together. You had to wait a long time to get to the UFC, but you're certainly making the most of it now.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Well, man, I appreciate the time as always. Obviously, I think this is still a tremendous main event. Styles make fights. I think this is still a very fun fight. Still a main event. And listen, you can be fighting anybody. A main event's always cool, right? Like, and in front of a crowd, so that's always better. So another main event, another chance to go out there and impress, and then you go out and win. We'll do our interview afterwards. You'll tell me how you're going to fight Khamzat, and then 2 days later, you'll have Khamzat booked for like January, February. So maybe it's a good luck. Maybe I'm a good luck charm for you. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, agreed. Let's put it on paper. Let's do it.
Well, Reinier, I appreciate the time as always, man. Obviously, have a great rest of your training camp. Can't wait to see you back in action next week. And thank you as always for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Damon. Have a nice day. Yeah?